So if you want to
Yeah.
like start off by just giving an intro to yourself.
Yeah, that's perfect. So let me tell you a bit about myself. Basically, when I was super young, I was super into creating technological solutions that helped humans or augmented humans. So I joined Fab Lab, which is an initiative from MIT Media Lab. It's basically a makerspace where you can go and build whatever you want. And that's where I met my co-founder with just 12 years old, but we didn't know we were gonna be co-founders by that time, of course.
Yeah.
So since since then we started just building robotics projects and technological projects that could make people better in any sense, right? So the first project we started doing were like drones and domotic houses and everything. But the first one that resonated with me was when my mom told me that she was suffering a degenerative illness that only 10 people in the world suffer. And due to like it's like only 10 people suffer from that, there's like a lack of research on that area. So I decided to raise awareness on that, and basically, I ended up building an exoskeleton of a robotic arm with her full measurements and everything. And I was
Wow.
like 15 years old by that time. So I
Oof.
didn't have enough
That's
money.
great. She's a savant.
Yeah,
Dang.
it was pretty cool, but I didn't have enough money, right? So I wasn't able to like pay for all the 3D printing and everything. It was when the 3D printers were like super hyped and everything. It was just starting.
Yeah.
So I decided to do it that way, right? Didn't have enough money, so I went to HP, Hewlett Packard, and I asked them, "Hey, like, would you sponsor this project?" I remember just going there with like a PDF file that I did, and I
Oh
asked
yeah.
to speak with the manager. And I was like, I went to the people that were over there, and I was like, hey, can I speak to the manager? They were like, yeah, yeah, sure. So he ended up liking the project, and they ended up sponsoring other project, which was super cool. So we could do like the full exoskeleton of the robotic arm. We ended up also winning some awards and raised awareness of her illness. So that project was great, and it fulfilled me a lot because I was in fact like helping like people and people that were like meaningful to me, right?
Yeah.
So that was great for me because I realized that I needed to do that in life. My mission was to improve people's lives some way, right? So at that point, everything in my life seemed to be amazing. Like, I got accepted into a university in Switzerland, like a very good university here in Europe. I'm from Barcelona, Spain. So, I was living all my life in Barcelona, and I wanted to go out, right? But as I always say, life has ups and downs. I had a
Hmm.
very heavy car accident, nearly a like close to death experience. A
Oh wow.
drunk and drug guy, he just like he was driving, he bumped into our car, my dad was driving. And basically I lost like a lot of blood, so I was unconscious.
Oh, so
And
sad.
that it was like a very bad experience at that time, but I would say that right now, with all these years with perspective that I have, I can say it's a positive thing because it has given me like all these resilience, great motivation. I have something inside of me that every day tells me like, come on, Christina, just like go for it and do that thing that you want to do, right? Like today
Yeah.
can literally be your last day. Like I've experienced that, and
Right.
it's it's a very cool thing, I would say, to have experienced. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was great. So after these, of course, due to medical reasons, I had to cancel like moving abroad. I had to stay in Barcelona. So COVID came, I started my bachelor in computer science and robotics engineering. And even though like at that time I found out that my mission in life was to give people time, because I saw that literally life could finish at any point and I needed to
Yeah.
have more time to do like all the things that I wanted to do. So when I had the opportunity during my bachelor to go to the US, I was like, okay, now I have to build something over there because they say, right, like US is the best
Yeah.
place to build things, right? So
Yeah.
every day I was thinking about what could I build. And I had the opportunity to finish like all the research of my undergrad at Harvard, doing a robotics project for Brigham and Women's Hospital. It was for a hospital. It was basically a project for elderly people, that they could monitor them 24/7. Basically, the hospitals were losing, I think it was like $42 billion due to patient readmissions, because basically they had like a red button. They were calling the nurses. The nurses had like listening, like alarm fatigue. They didn't hear the alarms. They were not able to like assist the patients correctly, so they thought they were like able to just like stand up however they wanted. And they just fell off, and then just like the readmission and everything was super costly. So we developed that robot, and that was great. So all the projects that I've been doing during my life made me realize that I had to help people. So connecting that with the time thing that I was saying, I remember arriving to the US, having like a lot of messages from my friends and family in Spain, but at the same time, my new friends from the US, like the university. I was also working for a company because Boston is super expensive, right?
Yeah.
And
Too
I
expensive.
had to pay my rent. So I realized, okay, I'm living in info obesity. I want to have time, and I'm just feeling that I have anything except time, right? So I
Hmm.
called my co-founder and I was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he was like, "Well, I have like five different inboxes for my like work account, two different ones from for my like personal Gmail or whatever, right?" And I thought, okay, why have like we have been augmenting other people's lives during all of our lives. Why don't we augment ourselves now, right? So that's how my startup was built, Twintual. And that's how everything started. So you can have like a bit of overview, like why I'm doing what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
That's an amazing.
Everything
That's an
has an
amazing story.
explanation. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
lot to unpack there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is why your business is gonna succeed is because you have a passion for it. We talk about this a lot. We actually talked about this on our last podcast. When it comes to our first business, we didn't have a passion for it. It was only about making money. And now we started Path that we have a passion for it. Now we can see ourselves doing this in a long set. So that's the first takeaway
Yeah.
I have on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially one of the things that your kind of journey has been amazing is that like you have an underlying motivation that's like deeper than just like I guess transactional or money or anything. It's like why it's like you want to help people, and that's something that like can it can go over oceans as you did going over to Boston, but it's also like climbing mountains and jumping over creeks and ravines and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you're doing things that most people will never do in their life. Like you went to Harvard and like that. The first thing came to my mind, like, damn, you went to Harvard. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it's a
totally.
way better
Yeah.
school than I went to. But
Well, dog and knock.
yeah, I know,
Basically.
but but and then you also started a company. And how old are you actually?
I'm 23.
Yeah, so younger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's incredible.
Yeah.
So those are
Yeah.
my two takeaways at least
Yeah.
for that.
And something like I just wanted to ask you, something that we talk about here at Pathlot is like reframing and taking like negative situations in life and kind of making them a positive, like a very stoic philosophy where it's like things happen to you, but 90% of it is how you respond. And like one of the things that stuck out to me is with that accident, that car accident that you were in. Like a lot of people could have taken it negatively, gotten down on themselves, and kind of went to like a negative spiral, but you kind of took it, spun it to a positive spin, and like, I mean, really changed your life. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
you use it as fuel to grow instead of to, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. 100%. Like I consider myself a positive person, and it's true that I right now explain it as something like, oh, I had like an obstacle and I overcame it and everything. But during that time, it was like a very tough time. I wasn't every day positive. It wasn't like these every day.
right.
There,
Yeah.
I had ups and downs, right? But I think I could apply the same thing to the startup life that I'm having right now. Like you have to fight every day, no matter what. Like at that time, I was fighting because I had like my whole head opened and I had to fight against everything to be able to be like healthy and like continue moving forward, right? And I feel with the startup I'm just feeling the same thing. And luckily it's like everything it's healthy right now, but I
Yeah.
feel that
Yeah.
every day you find obstacles and it's yourself or like against the world and your team against the world, and no one's going to be there to tell you, oh, you're doing great or whatever. Like you're going to listen
Hmm.
much more no's than, oh, like great, like continue, right?
Right.
So I feel it's just like a marathon. You have to keep running. And even though like there's days, as I was saying, that it's not always like like positive like feedback and everything with a startup, I feel those like days where we could call like pain days, like with the accident, it was like a painful experience. I
Mhm.
feel that helps you like have more like resilience and greed and everything. And I think that's necessary for any founder to have if they want to build something meaningful in life. It's true that nowadays with AI, people are building like things faster and everything, but I feel that still you have to have like resilience and believe in yourself. And having experienced something like this, I think I'm lucky because I already like I it's like I'm cheating, right? Because I've already experienced something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
painful, and now it's just the second time. Like I can do better this time, you know?
Yeah, you know you
Yeah.
can do it already. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good
Yeah,
way to think about it, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So you use AI a lot in your company, right?
yeah.
So yeah, and then also having that kind of that foresight to see where the industry is moving, where the world is moving, that's also a really good skill to have. We use AI in our company too, and it saves us a lot of time. So if there's like some mundane task that I need to get done, I'll just give it to AI and I can focus on what actually matters, like scheduling people or like creating more like meaningful content. So that's a really good thing. You have that foresight to see where the industry's heading.
Yeah, and something that I'm seeing every time more, it's for instance, these I think it was in June, I went to the Y Combinator AI startup school, and I remember having some old man in front of me. It was crazy because we woke up with some friends at 5 a.m. Just to be like the first in line. Just like we were literally sat like in front of Sam Alman. I took a selfie with him. I don't know if he realized, but I have a selfie with Sam Alman. But basically, I remember him saying that in a few years we're going to be able to build multi-million dollar companies, unicorns, with just two founders, and that's crazy. Like, that's
Hmm.
crazy. Just think about that, like 10 years ago. So I think this is thanks to AI, of course, and also with Twintwell, I'm looking forward to create a team similar to this. Maybe not to founders. I think having a team is good also for moral support, and I don't know, like it's super cool to have someone to speak to and everything.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
maybe like 5 people. I think that's gonna be like a good number in the following years. And I take as a as a like role model the company Telegram. They have an ARR of multi-million dollars. And they are only like 30 employees, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how can
Yeah.
30 employees build that? Like, that's crazy. And I think it's because every one of the employees has been like handpicked and they excel in what they do. And then thanks to
Hmm.
AI, they can do like double that, right? And with
Yeah.
Twintool, we also think like it's like, let's say this company right now they have 30 people, right? They will be able to have double, so they're gonna execute twice as fast as they're executing now. So yeah, AI right now is crazy because it saves you like a ton of time, and
Mhm.
that's what we need. Like we're like 24/7 with our devices like these, and that's not healthy. It's
Yeah.
not healthy at
It's
all.
not healthy. That's another unhealthy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things that sticks out to me too is that like with AI, it's like you said, it's a much more multiplier. And one of the things Elon Musk just gave a talk at the All In Summit where he says that Grok 5 is going to be, I think, 40 times or 40% better, I think, in terms of compute or something along those lines than Grok 4. And Grok 4 is already like one of the top of the line in terms of all the different AI models. And so it's like
Mhm.
if you just see the exponential or compound interest or growth of these different LLM models, incorporating it in is just like, I mean, it's got to be necessary at this point. Like,
It's also
Yeah.
limitless on what it can do too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a point where it's going to be compute, like input of tokens, output of tokens.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so one of the questions that I had is where do you see like Twin Twelve like evolving with this? And like how do you kind of see Twin Twelve in maybe like personally and then from a business perspective
Yeah.
evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I love this question because how I envision this is to be a digital extension of ourselves. So just think about this. Right now, we're just living life with our devices, and every time you receive a notification, you just like look at your device and you have to be like focused on your physical life and on your virtual life, and it makes no sense. Like, we should be focused on one thing and enjoying that, and that's it, right? As we're having this
Right.
conversation, we're just not like looking at other messages, right? So
Mm.
when I say a digital extension of ourselves, is like, okay, I can focus on this, while I'm 100% confident and I can rely on this like tool that can like manage everything for me. And then at the same time, I'm notified on everything that's happening. So in this case, in Twinswell, in the app, you have like all the summaries of everything. Like maybe you have a like I don't know, a group chat with 300 emails and messages, sorry, and then you have a summary of like 2 lines where you have to know like everything that has happened, right? And that's it. That's everything we need to like move forward with our lives, right? And then regarding with the like with the models, Nvidia released a paper, I think it was like a month ago, something like that, where they said that SMLs, like small language models, outperformed large language models in agentic AI because they
Yeah.
were like much more like they cost like less compute and everything, like less resources and everything. And ChatGPT just like released an open source model that was a small language model, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's that's causing, I was gonna say that's gonna cause, but not, it's causing already like a huge impact in agentic AI startups because we literally like until now we're paying for tokens for LLMs, right, to use like their APIs or whatever. It's
Yep.
true that we have like a lot of programs like Google for Startups or whatever, which we are involved, right, and they give you like free credits to use their models and everything, which is great. But of course those credits will finish sometime, right? And if
Right.
we just look forward to these small language models, which will be like free because they're like open source and everything, it literally is leaving us in an area where we'll be able to deploy AI agents with zero cost. So the revenue from that's gonna be crazy. And
Yeah.
I don't know like how are other competitors gonna do this. We're gonna 100% migrate to small language models when it stabilizes a bit more.
Yep.
But I think that's the future, and the margin for like revenue and everything, it's crazy. Like we don't have any like costs right now in
Right.
products. It's
Zero.
crazy. Like it's crazy.
It's
Anyone
amazing.
can do this. Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be such a huge cost too to have an employee say like $55,000 a year, 65,000 for something else. And you just cut that completely out. And that's
Yeah,
an amazing thing. And
yeah.
kind of like thinking about the future, just a little bit in the future, maybe like 10 years, 15 years, can you see a company that's fully run by AI? There's just a person that owns it, their name's on the LLC, but AI does every single task. Could you see that in the near future?
I think in some areas, yeah, 100%. There's a lot of areas that things are super like automatic and there's always like the same sequence that it has to be followed. So I think 100%. There's other companies where they have to innovate 24/7 and they have to
Mhm.
just like look for new like routes to just like keep moving forward and be sustainable. I don't know if AI will be capable of creating and generating these powerful ideas that have been till now like imagined by like humans, right?
Right.
Because I've tried to do that like with ChatGPT or any model perplexity to like, hey, just give me an idea to do this or do that or whatever. And as it's trained on the data, it's trained on what it has happened. It's true that it can make up something cool, but I don't know. I think for kind of new cool tangible ideas, I don't know how to say it. I think for innovation departments or something like that, maybe a human touch can be cool if we
Yeah.
humans don't like continue like thinking and everything. Because I also think there was a study that basically said that if we continue to use ChatGPT for everything we need, our brains will not like be
Yeah, our
evolving
cognition will
as
decline.
good. Yeah.
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 I saw that
So
study. It's not looking
yeah,
good.
so yeah, in the utopia where we humans like continue like functioning well and everything,
Yeah.
I think that would be the only. But in the rest of the things, I mean, any role can be like done by an AI. I don't know if you saw, the CEO of Nvidia now wants to replace all like every single job by an AI agent. It's
Oh,
crazy,
wow.
Wow,
and
I didn't see
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know how, I think that's going to be more of like a like government slash politics slash I don't know, like they'll have to know what to do with all the humans that are out there
Yeah,
doing things.
exactly.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, society will have to be structured.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you bring up a good point about innovation. Humans are able to think outside the box and kind of push away like old ideas, old data, and like kind of try to create something new. And I can see how AI just can't do that yet. It's going off of strictly like hard data that's been,
Yeah, in the past.
instilled over time. So that is a good point. I didn't think of it like that, but that's absolutely a good point.
I think to some degree there's always going to be a human in the loop, but I think like a less dystopian version of the future would be like you said, where you have like these 2 to 5 people unicorns that kind of happen just because you can do 10x, 100x with AI and just create all these workflows. Um, but just to like take a step back, I think it like the reason Twin 12 seems like it could be something really good is just looking at the past, and especially with social media, with people just being like dragged on
Mhm.
social media and group chats. And I think just our generation growing up with like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, where you're just doom scrolling, it's like a breath of fresh air to where like you use a technology not just to focus on keeping people on the app, but to function with people in like real life.
Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why also we are doing Twinkle. Like we want people to not be like 24/7 with their devices. Because right now we have like a lot of inputs of information, like as you were saying, like social media, instant messaging, like anything related to work is also like through messages. So there's like 24/7 these pings, pings, pings that we're receiving, and it's not
Mhm.
healthy. So for us, like, and also in the business side, which I know you asked for it before. In the business side, basically, there's like a lot of like companies that are losing like a lot of time. In fact, we did like a research and we're approaching some business saying, hey, do you want like an analysis or something on like how much time your employees are losing and how that's translated to money, right? And there's a
Mhm.
company we found out they were losing like 3K per month per manager, which is crazy. Like
Wow.
it's
What
That's a
crazy.
lot.
that's so much.
That's yeah, I mean for like US salaries, right? Which are like higher than in the rest of the like in Spain, for instance, right? But even though like that's crazy. So that's when we said, hey, you should use Twinto, like a company like yours. But I don't think it's just like their company, like any company in the world right now. Like they're like their employees are like spending like so much time juggling like emails or whatever. Like just think about this. Like when you go on vacation, you come back from vacation, you open your email, and then you have like your inbox is full, right? And then you might
Yeah.
be just like reading messages for like 2 or 3 hours, and it makes no sense. And then for the personal side, going back to that, it's the same. Like there's people that I think it's more for certain types of people. I would say for people that are companies themselves, saying content creators or a person that has multiple things. Like for instance, myself, I was like working for a company. I was at university. I was doing research. I was like building Twinswell, right? A person that has like a lot of things. It's like a very good fit, and I think that nowadays with, as you were saying, like social media, there's a lot of content creators, we're enabling a lot of people to be like a company themselves, right? So for these
Mhm.
kind of people is also like super like a very good fit to Intuit, because it literally helps them manage everything. So I feel these kind of profiles are like the perfect fit for this, because they're gonna need it. It's true that then for like the everyday user at some point it's gonna come, because of course, like when you start a startup, everyone tells you like, hey, you have to narrow down because otherwise you won't see the market feed and everything, which makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
let's say we're just like we're already like we have a million users or whatever, right? At that point, I look forward to be able to provide this app to any human being in this world, because I think every one of us should like be able to disconnect from this digital life, like just like lock their phones and be able to be like relaxed. I have a lot of friends that I don't know, we go out to have dinner or whatever, and they have to have like their phones upside
I
up,
know.
look into
Yep.
the messages. Yeah, and I mean,
We
I'm
have a
talking
couple
about
friends like that.
myself. I'm talking about myself too. Like yesterday, I was having lunch and I was like, "Oh wait, I have a meeting or I have whatever." Like I was just looking at the messages every time my lock screen like just like popped up,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. It's not healthy at all.
No, it's not. And yeah, no, it's not. So there's a couple things. So if you can kind of have AI like just deal with all of the digital side, you really like start to embrace life as what it should be. So
Yeah.
interrupted or uninterrupted with friends. And you can tell too, like when you're out with friends and they're always on their phone, they seem disconnected to in person too. So that's a really good thing. It kind of restore those friendships and make them stronger with this.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Um,
And I like this point that you mentioned because there's a lot of people that tell me like, well, not a lot, but there's some people that tell me, hey, like ethically speaking, like you're gonna let like an AI manage your communications. Imagine there's like an AI loop, which in Twin12 we've already like managed that. When it detects it's AI, it just like stops the conversation and it
mhm,
asks the human for an input, right? But I was like, okay, like it's cool to have an AI to manage those things because what it's meaningful is to have the conversations, like maybe like online meeting or maybe an on-site meeting or a lunch with your friends or whatever. That's what's meaningful. For me, at least, it's not meaningful to, and with all the people that we've spoken to, it's not meaningful to send a message to someone asking like, hey, will you be available this time for this meeting? Like, that's not
yeah,
like giving me any kind of like I don't know. I don't care if an AI does that. Like, I really don't
yeah,
care. It doesn't tell me anything about the other person. Like, I'm not getting anything from that conversation.
right, yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say, so like kind of diving into it, is it Twin Twal? What type is it like iMessage and like email is the ones like the primary mediums, or does it do like social media too?
Hmm. So right now is email like Gmail, Outlook, then WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Slack, all these kind of messaging apps.
Okay, yeah,
Right now we're
Mm,
focusing on these because we're B2B oriented and all the companies, these would be like the normal communication apps.
yeah,
yeah,
It's true that something that we're gonna also implement is Instagram, like all the social media apps. The reason why we're doing this is because there's DM, there's direct messaging over there, right? Let's put it like this way. Like basically imagine there's a founder that as we're saying, like two founders, they're building or they want to build a unicorn. And they have to manage all the communications and they've just like created this Instagram for the company and they have to also reply to all the questions from like all the social media people. Twinkle's not
yeah,
gonna post like the pictures for now, right? It's not what we're thinking, but it's gonna have to reply to all the thousand messages that it has to reply
yeah,
to. Even myself, like like my Instagram is like a normal Instagram page. I just post things like that I like and everything.
yeah,
And I'm not an influencer or whatever, like, but I receive a lot of messages even through Instagram, and I am unable to reply to all of them. Like my friends,
right,
there's a lot of times that they tell me like, "Hey, Chris, like, why haven't you replied to me? Like, are you mad or something?" And I'm like, "No, I just don't have time. Like, if you text me on WhatsApp, on email, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, like, I'm not able to reply to all the messages." And when it's a
right,
friend,
yeah,
I can say it's okay because they will understand you because it's a friend. But if you like drive these into the professional side, like I remember there was this brand that was telling me, hey, like I want to send you like a package or whatever, right, to do a promotion. And I didn't see that message because I had like
mm,
other messages and I lost an opportunity to like maybe do a collaboration with them or whatever just because I
yeah,
didn't pay attention to that or maybe I just didn't look at that or whatever. I had other messages, right? And the loss of opportunities is crazy because then a company can lose a lot of money by losing clients,
right,
right? So
yeah,
an
especially in
AI
the
won't
startup
take
phase
that.
too.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm really marketing oriented, and I would absolutely like go super hard into a campaign that says these are the opportunities that you could possibly lose, and these are the opportunities that you'll have with this specific product. So that's huge, and
Yeah, especially like when you talk about DMs because like everyone uses social media these days, whether it be like LinkedIn, which is how we connected, or like Instagram or X or like anything.
mhm.
And so like if you're able to like API or connect Twin to all to those, it would just be a game changer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would.
In fact, there's a company, an airline company in Spain, which is not like the best in customer support, because every time you go there and you just like have
Is it
another
Vueling?
extra bag, it's Ryanair.
Ah,
Like when
Did
you
we write
carry
on
like
that?
an
no. There was
extra
one where it was like
bag,
bouncing. That sounds good.
yeah, they just like charge you for everything, like, or you just carry a bag that's a bit bigger than the like the measurements or whatever, which is like, come on, you're not gonna measure that, right? They measure
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and they charge for that, right? So
I
everyone was
hate
like,
that.
yeah, everyone hates that, right? But now they have done this TikTok page where they just post a lot of like cool things, and it's super funny what they post because they literally make jokes with what they're bad doing. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's funny, and literally all Spain loves that TikTok account. And that's super
Yeah.
cool. Like having social media for any kind of company, like that's a very good example that it can change literally how people like see that brand. Like I might not be super comfortable flying with them, but I know like I don't know, like the message they tell me, it's I like it, right? So I might
Mhm.
be more prone to like maybe booking a flight with them sometimes. So yeah, I agree. Like social media is super important, and Instagram, TikTok, etc. are gonna be the next messaging channels that we're gonna implement.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you see Twin Twirl like kind of evolving into more of like a personal assistant sort of thing? Like where it
Yeah.
has like besides just messaging, it has like I don't know MCP tools or things besides that, where you can add like different other functions.
Yeah, 100%. I have a lot of ideas. In fact, my ultimate mission with Twintool is not what's currently right now. It's like another thing, like much more extense. But I have a very good mentor. He's the former chief information officer of a bank in Wall Street. He's like, I always say, like he gives me motivation every day, and he helps me
Yeah.
like in everything. And he's like, Chris, you need to do what you're doing right now to get there. So just like focus on this. And this is the reason why we're just like focusing on this. But in the future, yeah, I mean, everyone's looking towards executive assistants. It's true that I think there's gonna be other people that might be doing more similar, like more like, I don't know how to say, like maybe Apple, just like it was, yeah, no, OpenAI wants to, I don't know if you saw the video that they hired the one of, well, the best designer in Apple, and they're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
create this new device, and this device is gonna have like executive assistants or EA agents. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think that's gonna have everything integrated. The bad thing is that you'll need that device to have that. And the cool thing about Printwell is an app that you can download in any device. So if you're a company or a
Yeah.
person, you don't have to buy that device for everyone, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know if we're gonna move into that space, because I know that like big tech giants are gonna move into that space.
Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna go to the directions that I'm thinking that I would love to tell you in a few months if everything goes well.
Yeah.
And and but yeah, I definitely think that everyone's gonna move towards that. I don't think we're gonna move towards like 100% an executive assistant. What I'm
Right.
trying to build with Twintool is a digital self, like having, it's like a very different concept from a virtual twin, because at the end, the virtual twin, everyone sees it as an executive assistant, like literally like an AI that knows you and that does things for you, right? But I'd like to develop, I know the concept might be a bit more intangible, but the level of execution that it can have at the end, and while this is like super well developed, can be amazing, which is like literally having like your brain in your device. And that's like
Mhm.
a different concept, and I think what it can do is like much more and much cooler than what an executive assistant could do, because at the end
Yeah.
an executive assistant is an entity that's like separate from you. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
So,
No, that makes sense.
yeah, that's how I see it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope everything turns
Yeah.
out right and I can tell you more about this.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Kind of like going back to your like childhood, were you surrounded by entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs because you have the spirit for it? Where does that like kind of stem from?
I really don't know because no one in my family or in like my circle. In fact, something that happened to me. I'm currently in Barcelona. I just came back. And I remember having this talk with, in fact, an investor recently, and he was like, "Hey, how's everything going? Like, are you enjoying Barcelona?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, for just like spending time with your friends and family and everything, it's great, but." I just feel like less motivated here compared to the
Mm.
US. And that's super easy basically because in the US you're gonna be surrounded by people that are doing like cool things like you guys are doing with a podcast or like whatever. Like everyone's doing like super cool things, right? Or also
Yeah,
like in England, like people are doing over there like very cool things, but at least in Barcelona, like the normal path is not startups. They're also doing super cool things, but as it's like different, they're going more for the corporate world or whatever.
yeah,
Motivation is like it's very different, like the conversations you can have, the people you can meet, the opportunities you can get. It's much more different, so I feel much more motivated over there.
yeah.
But I of course love Spain, but I feel it has more distractions because at least from my point of view, like you eat better, there's like beautiful beaches, beautiful parties, and everything, right? So you have a lot of
Yeah.
It is a
distractions.
beautiful,
But
it is a
yeah,
beautiful city. I
Yeah.
loved it. I
yeah,
visited him when he was studying in Monaco. We
Yeah.
visited Barcelona and
that's
Athens
so
and
cool.
Nice too. So,
Yeah.
but I loved Barcelona.
It was great
Yeah,
food,
that's
great
excellent.
tapas.
So I would say that like all Europe is amazing, but I've never had like these entrepreneur role near me. I guess since I was young, I always wanted to build things and create a meaningful impact in people's lives, and throughout small projects like with the exoskeleton of the robotic arm, etc. I found that the reward was super fulfilling for me when I was
Yeah.
able to help people. And I've always been a very competitive girl since I was super young. I did like a lot of sports, and one of the like my favorites was horse riding. And I had a trainer which was like super strict, and I think this was also one of the people that made me be like super like perfectionist, that made me see what I wanted to accomplish in life.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like there was this day I was in the Spanish championship of horse riding, the jumpings.
Yeah.
And I remember being just like riding in the training field before entering the competition field, right? And I remember him just like screaming at me. And you have to think that in the training field, everyone's there, like
Yeah.
everyone, right? Everyone's looking
Yeah.
at you. And he was screaming to me, "Oh, Christina, you're doing it so bad. You're gonna hurt the horse." Being a horse rider, like if someone says you're gonna hurt the horse that you're riding, that's like the worst thing because you love the horse,
Yeah.
right? You can
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So he was just like screaming at me, telling me that I was doing it like horrible, that I was gonna lose everything, like all the work done during all the year. It was just like not gonna be worth it or whatever. So I started crying. So I then they called me to go to the competition field. And by the way, in all the pictures, I'm like, like crying, but that's okay. But I ended up being second of Spain in jumps, and that made
Wow.
me realize that when someone just pushes me like to my boundaries and makes me feel that I don't know that I know that he was telling me because he knew I could do better, but I think his role, he was a very strict person, but his role was the one that I needed to make me feel that I could do things in life, and that if I pushed myself I could accomplish things in life, and he was the person that put me in that position. And I
Yeah.
guess that helped me a lot, and that made me realize that I needed to put myself in that position in order to accomplish things and be like an outlier in some kind of like I don't know, in some kind of areas. For instance, like moving abroad, it was not the typical thing to do in Spain, at least in
Mhm.
like my environment. And even going to the US, maybe through Europe, it was like a more normal thing, but going to the US, it was just like completely outlier. In fact, I remember in my university, my teachers were telling me when I told them the first time that I wanted to move to the US, they were like, "Oh, no way, you're not gonna get in. Like, you're not gonna, like, Harvard, MIT, you're not gonna do
Yeah.
that. Like,
Wow.
no way.
Wow.
And that made me like think, okay, no, now I'm doing it.
Now I want to do it
Yeah.
even more. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess these would be the only things that have made me realize that I wanted to be kind of an entrepreneur and don't listen to the other people. Um, because I think people give very bad advices. It's
Yes.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like what a bad advice can do to you. It's like the worst thing.
Yeah.
And just believing in yourself, just believing in your inner voice is the best thing you can do. And I think that's what I've done until now, and I'm gonna continue doing it with Twinsel. I have something here that's telling me just continue, 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 and someday we're gonna achieve it. So yeah.
That's incredible. Wow. Yeah, that's exactly like the kind of mindset that we both have as entrepreneurs. We
Yeah.
kind of knew we wanted to be entrepreneurs at a later age than you wanted to be. But it was freshman year of college is where we kind of like put our heads together, had a few like startup ideas, but we were super young in college, just getting in, and none of those
Yeah.
really took off. But we joined the entrepreneurship club too, so that was kind of like that first realization, like this is something we kind of want to do in
Yeah.
alongside.
Something
So,
you can do. And I think one of the things with that too is that like, yeah, we wanted to be an entrepreneur, but then we kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like you kind of fall into the culture of your time. Like we were both in college, at a college out in the Midwest, but it's like you kind of have a completely different culture when you're at a university that is not, it's antithetical to
Yeah.
an entrepreneur mindset,
Yeah.
more towards like beer guzzling and that sort of stuff. But I think that's one of the reasons it's like that you also brought up too. It's that you have to be able to navigate what society says you should do versus what you think you should do and like you know true in your heart that you should do. And I think that's like a lot of people's missions that they should accomplish is that figuring out what it is that they want to do, not what it is that society tells them that they need to do.
right, and the sooner you figure that out, the better you'll
Yeah.
be.
But it's hard.
Yes, yeah. Some people don't figure that out until it's too late, like
Yeah.
or like they're in the later years of their life, and that kind of like breaks my heart a little bit,
But it's
Yeah.
also harder too with social media where you have so many different things, so many different people, especially with influencers now, where they're like, oh, this is the lifestyle that I have. This is so great. You should try it when you have no idea what it actually took to get that lifestyle, what it actually entails.
Yeah, and to kind of
Yeah.
add on to that, most influencers you see are really like unproductive. Like, so you'll see like some stupid challenge,
Yeah.
like dump as much water as you can in the backseat of a car, or like something stupid like that. It doesn't benefit any.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
benefit anyone in any way. Like so, and then they're like role models to younger kids, and they're thinking like this is what I want to do, and it doesn't really benefit society in a way. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with influencers,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that's
you
just me, I
you gotta
guess.
be smart with it. Like one of the things, especially that I hear from the States, like we adversarially against China is that China for their youth with TikTok, they take out all the sludge, all the bad stuff, and they just put STEM on TikTok. So whenever a kid's doom scrolling, they like look at science, technology, become inspiration for that. Whereas kids in America, I pray for them, this type of stuff they doom scroll on TikTok. But but it's just like as you grow up, you kind of get exposed to
Yeah.
these certain data sets, and that kind of points
Yeah.
you in a direction of where you want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're exposed, like it everything goes to back to the same point. Like we're exposed to a lot of information. We're consuming so much information daily, which is super difficult to be able to retain what we like, what are we interested in. And that comes when we have to make decisions. Like it's so difficult. My brother just started university. He's studying like data science and AI. But I remember like before doing like doing the decision of knowing what to study, he asked me like, what should I do? Like there's people in my school that now they're taking like a sabbatical year and they're going to Australia. There's people that they're gonna be content creators and they're like filming videos in YouTube. There's other people that they're gonna go work with their fathers or whatever, or with their families or whatever, right? There's other people that are gonna study. I don't know, like there's so many different paths, and I feel it's so difficult for like anyone to know what they want to do. In my case, I've always had like very clear what I wanted to do, which is
Mhm.
not like the normal thing. And I remember like some friends of mine saying me like telling to me, hey, but like how do you know it? And I was like, no, I just know I want to do this. I feel this is because like yeah, like the reason why people don't know how to decide and that we're exposed to so much information. I think the educational system is broken and that should change. Something that worked a lot for me was that since super like I was super young, I was like, oh, something like sparked my interest in building, I don't know, like Legos and robotics and whatever. Let's try that. Let's go to the Fab Lab and do that. Oh, now I like building drones. Now I like building an exoskeleton of a robotic arm. Now I like to do this, and that. Like, and that made me realize, oh, okay, I want to build things to improve people's life with technology, and now it's Twins World, right?
Yeah.
And that's an advice that I've given like to my brother, like just do projects, get to know people, speak with people. I think this is something in the US, it's super well taught. Like everyone in school, they have the opportunity to do a lot of things, like from cooking classes to arts to I don't know, like whatever they want to do. In Spain, it's not like that. So I think, I mean, worldwide the educational system has to change, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's somehow a way that like can help people to like make more decisions in this like current situation of life. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I'll echo everything that you said with the educational system. Something that I think that's is cool is that Palantir, it's like this software company with Peter Thiel. They kind of changed how like the kind of conversation around what a college kind of experience should be, where instead of like these kids going to like for a 4 year degree, they have like fellowship programs where kind of like you said, they just build product projects and they just kind of do that. And I think that's a much more interesting approach
Mhm.
that I think is really cool. Like kind of how you did that when you started at 12, just going to start doing projects and projects and projects.
Yeah.
And I feel that's something that's really important is that not necessarily like just learn all the theoretical stuff, but you have to like implement it and learn by doing because that's like the way that you kind of remember it the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, and not everyone fits the same mold that the education system expects them to fit in. Like some people are really super hands-on, like that, like you are, like you want to build the exoskeleton. And some people aren't like that. Or so it's really like finding a way to adapt the system to support everyone's way of learning.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
It's hard. It's
And
hard.
it is hard, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good conversation to have. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. So like in your journey, I guess we can just focus on Twin 12 maybe a couple years before, but like what's been the hardest time in your life during that? And then what's been the most like gracious and like amazing time in your life? Like the two different extremes.
With Twintool or in my life in general?
However you want. However you want.
So in my life, I would say like the most complex time was like with the accident, because like not only like what I had physical, like I don't know if you're gonna see, but I have like a huge scar from it goes from here to here, and then like all my head, like you could literally peel my head like a mandarin, like you could do it like this.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy, but um, of course, the physical thing, it was like a thing. Luckily, it was only superficial. Like I didn't have anything like more profound, right? But it
Yeah.
was like other psychological obstacles I had to overcome. Before that, I did like some advertisements and everything, or the horse riding, right? And after these, of course, like for me, waking up every day, looking like myself to the mirror and everything, and seeing like 54 stitches on my forehead wasn't ideal. Like for me, it was like,
Yeah.
why do I have these? Like, if it would have been my fault, I could be like, okay, yeah, I've been a bit dumb, right? But it wasn't like literally because a person didn't want to be like good that day or whatever. They like, I have these, right? And I didn't understand why did I have to go through that if it was not my fault. So that was very complicated at first, but then I guess just like I had a lot of support from my friends and family. I can say that I'm very lucky to be surrounded by amazing people in my life.
Yeah.
um and that's very important. And also like in the startup, it's super important to know who you're surrounded by, because there's always gonna be people that tell you, oh, wow, this is amazing, and then on the back they're just like gonna say whatever they want. But
Yeah.
people that you can really trust, they're always gonna support you no matter what. They're gonna tell you what it's good, what it's bad, which is the best thing. Like if anyone, I always tell my friends like, hey, if you use my app and there's something you don't like, tell it to me, because that's how am I gonna improve. Like, I want to just
Yep.
like cut like the bad things and just like make it like better for everyone, right? So I think being surrounded by the good people would be like the best thing that has happened to me in my life. And it's not easy to be surrounded by good people. Like, I think choosing these kind of people is it's difficult. And as like everyone says, right? Like the five people who you spend the most time with is like who like literally what defines you, right? So I think
Yep.
that's very important. And the most like the coolest moment, I mean, I would say I'm a very strict person. Like, I'm very strict with myself. So I guess when everything went super well, like like I've had, of course, like very cool moments. Like with when I was like second of Spain in horse riding, that was super cool. Like, I've done like pretty cool things, right? But um, I don't know. I was selected to go on pitch. There's a like a Model United Nations simulation in Europe, and I was like elected to go to speak to Budapest and like defend a
Yeah.
country there, and that was super cool, right? There's like been super
Yeah.
cool moments, and with Twin it has happened the same. For instance, we won an award, then we were published by Forbes. We appeared on TV, which yesterday it was like a year the year anniversary since we appeared on TV, right? And all these
Yeah.
things are like a spark of adrenaline and happiness that motivate me a lot. But every time that I speak, for instance, with my mentor, I tell him, hey, um, like we haven't accomplished anything yet. And he's like, come on, Chris, you've done this, you've done that, you've launched, you have clients, you have revenue, like everything's going great, like you're doing great. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but we still haven't, like, I could tell you that I have not yet experienced like 100% fulfillment and excitement that I know
Right.
I can experience doing this. So that's why I would say I have not experienced this yet. I have experienced like, I would say, spoilers of that, but
Yeah.
not the full excitement that I know we're gonna feel, and I expect it's gonna be briefly. But I don't know. I know is what I was saying. I have like a feel inside of me that's burning. It's telling me, go on, go on, go on. I know it's gonna explode at some point, and that's gonna be the fulfillment. So I'm just waiting for that. But of course, if I had to, not about to into about in my life, to point out one thing would be the exoskeleton, because I helped my mom, and that was like the best project for me because I
Yeah.
could see her like joy in her face, just seeing that I was doing something for her. And as a daughter, I feel that's very beautiful. And I
Yeah.
feel
It's
that
incredible.
by being an engineer normally, or at least it's something that I felt in my degree in my class, normally engineers we're more like cold and we don't like we're not like as social as other people. And for me, it's a very important part. Like every time that I speak with people, in fact, when I had the car accident, I remember the lawyer, he told me like, hey, what do you want to study? And I was like, well, like guess. And he was like, oh, you're gonna be like a publicist or public relations or whatever because you love to speak, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
well, I want to be an engineer. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I would have never said that. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. This has been an amazing conversation. I've loved getting to know you. Dave told me a little bit about you when he connected you with like on LinkedIn. But it's great to hear like from you. So we really appreciate you being here. But could you like kind of give like one piece of advice to our audience that best helped you in your entrepreneurial journey?
I would say listen to you. Don't listen to other people's advices because not all advices are good. And do not idealize anyone. Like, you can look up to someone and that person can be amazing in like many areas of the life, but you never know what's going to be best for you until you don't try it. And this has happened to me.
Mm.
I've taken advices from other people because as I was saying, I'm an engineer. I'm learning how to be a CEO every day of my life and I love it. I'm passionate for these and it's like an obsession, right? But I've of course, by taking other people advices, which they had like more experience than me on that, I thought that was good. But when I did that, it did not turn out to be as good as I thought it was gonna be. And so since then, I just started to just listen like to myself and everything. It's also very good to, like, don't get me wrong, to speak with a lot of people and learn from them. But just when someone tells you, oh, you should do this or that, don't do that. Like, contrast that with many other people. Speak to founders,
Yeah.
speak to people that are just on your same situation, and try to surround yourself with people that are better than you. Like, if you're in a room where
Yeah.
you're the smartest one, just get out of there. That's not a good place for
Right.
you, right? And then I would say, just like, don't give up. Like, have resilience, and like, I know it's like something that everyone says, but I've experienced this in my life, and I know that you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing, and then there's gonna be some day where you're like might give up or something because you've been like feeling like, oh, I've been like pushing like every single day of my life and I don't see any outcome. And then the next day you just see the outcome. I remember being at the YC school that Elon Musk came and gave a speech, and he said, like, when he was with SpaceX, just at the beginning, he was building the rockets, right? And
Mhm.
they launched the first one and it crashed, then the second one it crashed, the third one it crashed, and they didn't have any more budget for the fourth one. And Elon said, like, hey guys, we're just gonna do the fourth one. If it goes well, perfect, we're gonna continue. If it doesn't go well, that's it, we shut this, right? And we shut this down, and then they figure out how to build it correctly, and they launched and everything went well. And literally it
Yeah.
was just they tried and tried and tried, and it was a rocket. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, with an
Yeah.
AI and you can literally do whatever you want and it's free. Like, you don't have that much obstacles and constraints and everything. Like, a rocket is
Yeah.
crazy, right? So I just think, like, if others have done crazy things, like, we can do whatever we want. Like, there's so many things this world needs and they haven't been like created yet. Like, we have to do so many more things.
Yeah.
So I would say, just like, don't lose the passion, be obsessed, be resilient, and believe in you, and just learn from your advice and experience. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's the
And
advice.